Good news, everyone!
Good news, everyone, as Professor Putricide would say. Everyone, it's Apex, and today we got some news just 1 week after we got some overall negative propositions that Blizzard was suggesting, such as putting rocket boots in Arena, which not only would make the whole meta change, but everyone would have to get rocket boots, meaning they'd have to level up engineering. And on top of that, if they only did it for the first season, then everyone would then have to drop engineering. Well, not everyone, but a lot of people would then drop it just to get something else because they got it maybe just for rocket boots, like some healers, for instance. But first of all, the eye level changes that they are now proposing are vastly different. And basically they're talking about how at the end of the day, a nerf is a nerf. And essentially when they're nerfing the TOC eye levels as well as the ICC, that just doesn't feel good. Maybe people who want to raid, that's going to hurt them the most, which is the vast majority of players. So what they're doing instead is they're going to be buffing the eye levels of Ulduar, which I think is a great change because Ulduar is a great raid. I think almost everyone who's done it agrees with that. And they're just making it so you're going to be running that far longer. And they're doing some significant changes because the highest eye level you could get in Ulduar besides the legendary, which was 245, was 239. And that would be from your hard modes, which were on 25-man. And you couldn't do hard mode on all the bosses, so you get 239 only on a select few, which would be very powerful. So what they're doing now, instead of nerfing the eye levels in TOC, they're going to buff the normal modes by 6 eye levels. So that would make your 10-man normal go from 219 to 225. That would make your 226 go to 232 on 25-man normal. However, the hard modes are going to be raised by 12 eye levels. So on the 10-man, that would make it so you'd be getting anywhere from 244s to 251s because there's 2 different eye levels boosted in the hard modes. And then on the 25-man hard mode, it would be eye level 251. That is higher than anything in TOC 10 normal and heroic, and is also higher than TOC 25 normal, but still lower than 25 TOC heroic. And then that 251 is identical to ICC 10-man normal. So it's almost skipping a full raid content of gear eye level, which is insane. I mean, everyone's going to be running Ulduar for all of basically Season 7 and S6. So that's a huge change. I think overall it's a good change though, because like I said, great raid, and they'll be nerfing the eye levels and messing with all that other stuff, which has far more ramifications than simply just buffing this. So overall, that is a good change. And then they're talking about doing pre-nerf Ulduar, and essentially they're just saying how when they were digging through the data, they found out that there had actually been a lot of nerfs, and in their words, massive. So we're going to get the stronger version of Ulduar because as we've seen when we go back to Classic WoW, for instance, all the raids were extremely easy. And we finally got to Nax 40. That was the only one that was challenging at all, but it was still getting ran through by pretty much everybody eventually and a bunch of guilds early as well. So that's a big change. And then they're talking about just overall Ulduar should be the best possible experience, and it didn't get enough love in the original because of the eye levels that replaced it, as well as the difficulty originally. So then they nerfed it, and then no one even needed the gear, so that was just overall bad. And now we have the PvP changes. Okay, now here is the largest piece of news, and this is where they're saying, we've reviewed the engineered items, gathered feedback, and taken a closer look at how certain items and enchantments interacted during the original Wrath. And they say gathered feedback, they just mean reacting to massive backlash. So the Nitro Boost enchant can introduce a big advantage for the players that have them, as you mentioned. Yes, they are such a large advantage. Everyone has to basically run engineering almost regardless, or they're not on equal footing. Because if you have a paladin, freedom rocket boots away any spec, and then they're almost dead and you need to finish them, you better be able to freedom rocket boot or somehow catch them as well. But some benefit more from rocket boots, like a paladin who can freedom. Because if you have, let's say, a warrior on that paladin, if they rocket boots with a slow on them, they can't catch them. But the paladin can easily get away with freedom rocket boots from almost anything. It also applies to things like Shadow Priest dispersion. So some have a huge advantage over others as well with rocket boots, just because of their natural synergy. That's something a lot of people don't even talk about or think about. But they are deciding, thanks to your feedback and in the spirit of competitive nature of ranked arenas, thank you. They're going to remove them from arenas starting with the first season, and that also means for all of Wrath, because they're saying for any season right here. And they're also talking about these other items, which I will put up on screen. The Wrath versions of these items, in case you haven't seen them, because they do change a little bit. And that is your Gnomish Lightning Generator, Rocket Boots, Gnomish Netto Match Projector, say that 5 times fast, and then the Hypervision Goggles, which a lot of rogues used in particular for stealth battles in BC Arena. So great, I'm glad they're changing all that and removing them, thank you. And then we also have just some little news, which is some changes to prevent overcrowding. So these servers now have restriction, you can't transfer to them. And right now I am playing on Gribulus myself, and I know a lot of people are on Fairlena, and these are all like heavy-sided factions too besides Gribulus. And they expect to release these restrictions when the realms are no longer experiencing these long queues. And then these are the free character transfers if you're interested. They're mostly going to normal and PvP servers. And then they also have name changes for $10 in the shop. So if you really want to change your name and you don't want to change anything else, then boom, you got that. So great. And let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and have a good day.
You were always my favorite, next to Rotface.